Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning and it's 1:45 in the morning. Harriet and I, we've been having a snuggle, haven't we? And she's tired now. Here she is. Mummy's little girl. Still likes to sleep on my head because it's warm, I suppose. It's all these brain cells working, you know. The brain cells that don't have early onset dementia. I hear that cunt Peggy saying I've got early onset dementia. On top of everything else. Don't think so. I'm a frail old lady. Don't think so. Up until 2 years ago, I was still doing the 6 mile walks plus for charity. You couldn't drag your big 400-pound arse round a track, could you? Round a route. Frail because my vertebrae are collapsing because I've got osteoporosis. If you want to say frail, if you want to say disabled actually isn't a word that's used anymore. It's physically challenged. And you can be physically challenged at any age. Just as you, Missy, are physically challenged because of your gargantuan big arse. You failed weight loss surgery cunt. Now, I've got to say that I listened to a video where Marty was having one-on-one man conversation with Mr. And I said at the time, well, I said in a comment, it's an oxymoron really, because man to man with Mr. Marty, impossible, darling. He's been emasculated over the years by Missy. Imagine living with that harridan for almost 20 years. No wonder the man's grey. I'm surprised he's got any bloody hair at all. And by the way, he looks older than me. And by the way, her skin isn't as good as mine, nor the other cunt in Kuwait. Her skin, I've got some pictures actually, I should show them, shouldn't I? Her skin is like sandpaper. Sandpaper with pimples. Imagine that. Oozing puss. Because she rarely washes. She certainly doesn't give her face a deep clean or anything like. And she has been known often to just pile makeup over yesterday's makeup. Very classy food. But I guess when you get to the size of Missy and Foodie, then it makes for, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes for, oh, just not wanting to be bothered really, you know, with anything, except eating. How much must you have to eat as a less than 5 foot woman, which both Missy and Foodie are? How much must they have to eat to reach, well, in Missy, when she reached about 450, I think, at her highest. There's pictures somewhere. Her wedding dress was more like a marquee. You know, like you get in the fairgrounds. You could get 100 kids in there and still have room for the horseback riders. You know, great big marquee of a dress. And little Mr. Moo at the side. How do these women... Now this is a serious question because it flummoxes me. It must be the dementia. But how do these women actually manage to be impregnated? How? I mean, I know the normal way, you know, when you make love with your husband or your wife. But that's not the case with these gluttons, is it? Their first love is themselves. And the second love, close on the heels of that, is food. And their third love is making money. And their fourth love is attempting to feel superior by bullying people, whether that be on the internet, via emails, interrupting live streams, sending obnoxious messages, DMs, however they bully, and they do it effectively. And I've got all these emails from no men, Nessio, which means no name, Latin. And it's come through, they've come through, I think there's about 16 of them, these emails, over a period of about 2 weeks. And, yeah, of course they upset me. They were absolutely vile. But all the threats, and I'm going to be in your garden at 3 o'clock in the morning, or look in your garden at 3 o'clock in the morning, or I think somebody's in your garden now. That was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had my family here when I got that message. So, yes, I increased sensibly. I was going to do it anyway in my alarm system. It needed doing, but I wouldn't have gone probably to the excess that I did. And the reason I did that was because of my kids, because they were concerned and they were... But if you cunts think that you frightened me enough to make me shut my spit-filled mouth and stop talking about you, then you've got another thing coming, because I won't. I'll talk about who I like, when I like, using the words I like. And you're not going to stop me. Now, all this recent furore regarding Missy was kicked off, I believe, because What said in her live stream, and I entered the live stream partway through, but What, Aka Sharon, said that she wanted Missy to make a formal apology to me. Missy said she's done videos and made apologies. She hasn't made a formal apology to me for what she's done. We know she infiltrated the live streams because the verbiage, the manner of speech, was heard all over, using words she's used before. She admitted she had about 40 sock accounts. She was Foodie Beauty's right-hand monkey. And she would do anything for that woman. Literally anything. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if there was only one bed and they shared it? They'd probably, each of them, get more sexual satisfaction from that than they have from their husbands. Particularly Foodie. Because he doesn't bloody well touch her, does he? Why would you want to? 450 pounds. Don't forget, her scale showed, can't remember what it was in kilogram, but it came to about 380 pounds, 379, 380. Well, she tinkers with the scales. She did when she was back in Canada, so that when Pete's got on it, that scale showed £50 less than it actually was. And he admitted that she would tinker with the scales so that they would show £50 to £80 less than her actual weight. So I guess we can add to her £380, we can add another £50 to that, 430. I think that sounds about right, maybe a bit more. But as I say, Salah's not touching her. She's making videos all hours of the day and night. A married woman sitting there in her scuba gear, her little scuba hat, hiding all that flesh so that she looks like this, with her pointed chin, hiding all that flesh, all those chins, that neck. Well, don't think she's got a neck. The head is placed directly on the shoulders. A bit like Missy Moo. I'm going to say something actually. It's just come to mind. Looking at the clip that Marty had, where did he have it now? I can't remember on what video, but she was sitting there and she was crying. Her hair was scraped up in a little thing on top, and she was crying. Now, if you look at that video carefully, and I'm being serious now, you look at that video carefully, look at her face and the shape of her face and her head. What does that bring to mind? Because that brings to mind micro Encephalitis, something like that. A disability anyway. A psychiatric, a mental disability. And I'm not knocking people who have got that. I'm not knocking people with dementia. My husband, my beautiful husband, had Parkinson's for 25, 30 years and fought it. Used to go for long walks, still went out, still had the grandchildren, and he was still laughing right up until his final days. And it was when the Lewy body dementia kicked in that it became very difficult for me 5'2" and 5'3" as I was then, 5'2", 5'3", to bathe him, and he fell on me. And of course I fell on the floor in the bathroom. And that's when a couple of vertebrae went. I think that was the first time. About how long ago? 12 years ago. 12, 14 years ago. And then we were moving. This is a long story. I'm not going to get into it all now, but that was the beginning of him having to move physically away from me into a nursing home. And it should have been for veterans, for ex-military personnel. But things happened and he went somewhere else, one of the best nursing homes around, purportedly. But a nursing home is only as good as the staff that they get. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But as I say, I would never mock anybody with a mental disability or impairment. Not just because of that, but I wouldn't. It's low, and just knocked something on the floor, I think. And the fact that you, Missy would use that, saying I got early onset dementia, that's pretty unforgivable, you know. But what I've said about her micro and encephaly, something. Look at the shape of her face, just here and here, and the tilt of her forehead. You can find pictures, I'm sure, to compare. But she looks as though she might have a little bit of that going on. And that might explain her behaviours. Her absolutely strange fascination with Foodie Beauty. Almost a sexual overtones it's been. And the strange fascination with all those dolls that she's got. I think in her first video, not last Christmas, the Christmas before, about Foodie Beauty, so she hasn't been watching her that long, she said, Foodie Beauty, would you like a baby? I would like to give you one. Dear, well, with all this gender thing going on, not beyond the realms of possibility, I suppose. Probably upset somebody else now. I hope not. But I wanted to come on and address that I haven't got early onset dementia. I've got osteoporosis. The problem is my mouth is necrosis of the jaw due to alendronic acid infusions that I had for the osteoporosis. And the reason I'm coming on here like I am is because I'm not ashamed of it. It's going to be fixed. I'm going to have my smile back. And certain parts of the osteo will be fixed if I can't get it done on the National Health Service. And I should be able to. But it doesn't look as though I'm going to be able to because of money. There's no money in the system. So I will maybe take equity out on the house and get what needs doing done. So my problems, you see, are fixable. Some people's problems are not Missy, Rudy. And a shout out to Marty. I just want to say I really appreciate the support that you've given me, because it's been needed. It has. Despite me, going on and going through and punching back and all the rest of it, it's nice to have the support of someone who can actually take these bitches on and show them what's what. I'll be back with another. I'm going to have my coffee, which has probably gone stone cold. Yes. Yikes. Horrible. So I'm going to make myself another drink. And normally we're up. I'm always up early. Always. Throughout my life. When I was working, I used to get up and do the housework and sandwiches for the kids, sandwiches for Alfie, do what I needed to do. When Alfie was in the nursing home, it was up early because I used to make bread to take in and cook overnight in the slow cooker, do soups and stuff, make smoothies. So I was always busy. And I used to get up about 4. Sometimes I used to go running. I used to run for about 6 miles every morning. And when I was younger, sort of, well, not that young even, sort of Rudy and Moo's age, I used to run half marathons. Did one full one, which nearly killed me, but the half ones were okay. I used to skydive and jump out of aeroplanes. Just an ordinary parachute jump. Lots of things that you fat bitches will never know anything about, ever. Anybody think that she's back in Canada? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to make myself a coffee, get my head together, have a little cuddle with my cat, and have it back. Thank you all. Bye-bye.